All right, welcome to Tomghost from TryHackMe. This is another uncut pen testing video. And yeah, I've never actually exploited this vulnerability before. And to be honest with you, I'm not even too familiar with the details of it. And I remember hearing about it when it first came out a while back, but I think at the time, the organization I was pen testing for didn't have any Tomcat in their environment, so I never really dove into this one. So it should be pretty exciting. I'll be learning right alongside all of you guys in this video. So yeah, let's just get into it. And it does give us a little bit of additional information. This is what you're going to notice with a lot of the TryHackMe rooms. Definitely utilize everything they give you. So they're saying here, identify recent vulnerabilities to try to exploit the system or read files that you should not have access to. Now, just me being familiar with the fact that Ghostcat was the kind of moniker, the name of a recent vulnerability, I already knew that, but if you didn't, they kind of hint at it here that this is going to involve a recent vulnerability, and a little bit of foreshadowing in the background here as well. And like I said, not too familiar with the inner workings of this vulnerability, but it sounds like it might result in arbitrary file read. So definitely an important thing to take note of. You see, there's a lot of information you can get before you even start on a system. Now, it's always good to have background recon going as soon as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm immediately going to start getting my Nmap scans running. Now, as you can see here, this one is not guided at all. All it says is give us the user flag, give us the root flag. So we're going to have to pretty much do this all on our own, unlike some of the other videos in this series we've done in recent weeks where it was more guided. So what I did is I just went ahead and created a directory for my Tomghost stuff. And I'm going to create 3 directories now to create exploit, loot, and scans. This is just my preference here. I go into scans, I'm going to run nmap. And first of all, let's make sure I can access the server itself. So I'll just try to ping the machine. And yep, I was able to ping it. And now let's go ahead and run that nmap scan. So sudo nmap against this IP address, but we're going to run that with some flags. We're going to start off with a basic scan. Let's do like default scripts and version enumeration. And we'll do some verbosity and we'll name it short. So short.nmap. And yeah, we'll just let it run. It finds 228080, which is normally the port that Tomcat will be running on. But while that's finishing, what I really want to do is I want to turn my attention to Ghostcat, right? Because I know this is a common vulnerability. So what I've done is I pulled up some articles. Now, this is where, I wouldn't normally do this if it was like, if I didn't have this information, obviously. But since we already know that this probably involves the Ghostcat vulnerability, the best thing we can do is do as much research as possible. So I Googled Ghostcat, and I just pulled up the first 5 articles that I found on it. This is a strategy that I remember hearing from John Hammond on. This is something he likes to do. And if this wasn't a recorded video, I would probably spend more time reading through these than I'm about to. But let's just take a look here. I'm just going to try to scan through these and get some basic information. So it involves the Tomcat AJP connector. So that usually runs on port 8009. Let's see, is that something that came back? It is. So that is available. So that's important to note. We're probably on the right track with this. So what does this thing actually do, this connector? The Tomcat connector is a channel for Tomcat to connect to the outside. It enables Catalina, which is the web server, to receive requests from the outside, pass them to the corresponding web application for processing. I think Catalina is. I don't want to tell you guys wrong. What is Catalina? This is how you would go about it, like really this simple. If you didn't know what something is, just Google it. What is Catalina and Tomcat? There you go. It's the servlet container. So it basically serves up your JSP pages and stuff like that. It's a container for all that. As you can see here, you have the server, services. I know this is really small, but the engine. It's basically an engine. Gotcha. And of course, you could always go as in-depth with learning that as you want to. But basically, Enables Catalina to receive requests from the outside, pass them to the corresponding web application. Yeah, like we're saying, an engine for passing all the stuff for processing, and return the response result of the request. So it's very inherent to how Tomcat, allowing Tomcat to function properly. So, but by default, it will have two connectors, which are an HTTP connector and an AJP connector. So we're familiar, I'm definitely familiar with the HTTP connector, port 8080, but yeah, then there's also this port 8009, which is the AJP connector, and that's used to process AJP protocol requests. So AJP is its own protocol, okay? And if you didn't know about it, I think they actually say down here what it is. AJP protocol, which is basically, this is short for the Apache JServe protocol. And it can be understood as a performance optimized version of the HTTP protocol in binary. Okay, so that is an important bit of information, that it operates in binary format. It can reduce the processing costs of HTTP requests, so it is mainly used in scenarios that require clustering and reverse proxy. Okay? So this is really, I know I skipped this for a second, but this is really important here. It tells you what versions of Tomcat are actually affected by this vulnerability. Now, if we have, through Nmap, if we can get some banner grabbing, and since we ran it with TAC SV version enumeration, Nmap's automatically going to attempt to grab that information for us. Let's see what it came back with. It was able to grab this banner here, Apache Tomcat 9030. That is very critical information. Also got it from the title, because they are running some default stuff, it looks like. So that's really important. So now we know the exact version of Apache Tomcat. Perfect. 9030. So let's see. Does that check out here? Yes, it does, because we are in the 9.x and we are below 9.0.31. Remember, we're .30. So we fall in with this. So based off the version, this should be vulnerable to Ghostcat. Now, what can it do, right? So by exploiting the Ghostcat vulnerability, an attacker can read the contents of configuration files. So, okay, a little bit of file read there. We can read the contents of config files and source code files of all web apps deployed on Tomcat. Okay, that's very interesting when you have file read to configuration files, because a lot of configuration files store plain text passwords. So if we could get some plain text credentials, let's see, is there an SSH enabled or anything like that? There is. There's SSH. So I'm not exactly sure what kind of credentials we might find in those config files, but it is possible that, I would say as well, it's actually really possible that we get Tomcat credentials. If I had to guess, we probably would get some Tomcat credentials, and we can use that to log in to the dashboard. And once we're in there, we can deploy a malicious war file and get in the typical way you get in once you have Tomcat access. But there is a chance we might be able to find some valid SSH credentials and get in that way. So I'm just kind of thinking ahead here based off the information presented to me. So in addition, if the website application allows users to upload a file, an attacker can first upload a file containing a malicious JSP script code to the server. The uploaded file itself can be any type of file, such as pictures, plain text files, etc., and then include the uploaded file by exploiting the Ghostcat vulnerability, which finally can result in remote. Okay, so this actually might be the way in as well. We'll see what kind of functionality is available, but that's a really important bit of information. We're going to be looking to see if the web application allows for file upload. Because, yeah, that would be really handy for us, obviously, as you can see here. Let's see. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, basically the only fix is they got to update their Tomcat version. Let's just make sure I'm not missing anything else super important here. This is giving us like that high-level understanding of it first, right? That's what that article was good for. This one, I believe, is going to be the same thing since it is like a trend micro. Here you get like a cool little graphical demonstration of all this. So for these other ones here, I'm just going to kind of save us time by just a little like just kind of scanning through it. And seeing if any new information really sticks out to me. But yeah, if I was doing this for real, I'd probably spend more time on these articles, just so you guys know. And yeah, we'll also see if we can find an actual exploit, like proof of concept or something like that. That's going to be really handy to see, okay, now that we understand the high level of what's going on, what is the actual technical information that we need? So let me get myself in the flow of everything. I'm going to put on some music here, just on my own computer here. I usually work with music, but when I record videos, I'm used to like not having music. So let me just put something on here on the side. Get in that flow state, however you like to work. Okay, cool. All right. Here we go. This one looks, okay, yeah, this is basically what we did here. They're showing you how to identify it, right? You can do it based off of the banner. And okay, here we go. Here's an actual link to an exploit, it looks like. So let's check out this GitHub, shall we? We got the infamous Chinese hackers at it again with the exploits. Always solid. ajpshooter.py. For stuff on like GitHub, you can kind of, especially like Python exploits, it's kind of nice. You can look at the code just to make sure it is not going to hack you. It's doing what you think it's doing. Now, here you got a bunch of hex encoded stuff. Nice thing here is they actually commented what it does. Of course, you can't take that 100% at face value, right? They could say it does something else, right? But I mean, we do have a little bit of social proof here because they're saying they used it, right? So reduces risk a little bit. But let's see how they ran this. So basically they supplied the 8080 version here, and then they put 8009. And there might be a help on here that explains like what it's expecting. Yeah, here we go. First thing you got to supply is the AJP IP target port file. Okay. Oh, actually, that's an optional flag. Okay, so here's the required part. So you put in, ajpshooter.py, the URL. That's why we saw the 8080, right? And then the AJP port. So 8009 by default. That'll be for us as well. And then target file and reader eval. So let's see what they did. They did file read on the web INF for their proof of concept. So it ran it, and then they got the contents of that file as the output, it looks like. So yeah, that's a good starting point as well. So they actually found like a key for that they could use for SSH. Cool. Yeah, let's try something similar here in a sec. We'll just look over this last article really quickly. So it's saying here, AJP file read, inclusion vulnerability. So yeah, I guess our assumptions were correct in that case. We are looking at some kind of arbitrary file read stuff going on here. So where it said read files should not have access to. Yep. Okay, cool. Did this complete? Let's see. Yeah, so I should have been probably at least a little bit quicker on the draw here, but that's okay. We want to get our full scan in place, get that running just for good practice here. You always want to have your recon running in the background. We'll call this one full, and we will tell it to run it on all TCP ports. So cool, that can do its thing. Let's just look here at the final results. DNS is open as well. But yeah, I think at this point we have a pretty good idea of where we should be focusing in here with everything. So let's just go ahead and try the exploit, since the data we have here shows us it should work. We can actually, before we do that, we can check out the Tomcat server for good measure, right? Let me grab the IP. And we'll visit the site on port 8080. So this is what the default Apache Tomcat page looks like. Let's see if we can get into the manager. And we get an access denied. Probably, notice how it didn't even prompt us for credentials there. Most likely it's going to only allow localhost, which would be like the correct secure configuration here. So, all right. That's pretty much all we can do with this one. We can notice we can also get the version from this page here. It tells us 9030. That's probably how Nmap got it, to be honest. But yeah, let's just move on from here. So yeah, let's go ahead and try that exploit that we found. Kind of scroll through this real fast, like I said I would. A lot going on here. This is where you kind of got to slow down for a second and really just process all this stuff that, you know, step by step, stick to your methodology here. Don't necessarily rush into exploitation. So they're just confirming the availability here, like which versions are affected. 930 and below. We're up against this exact version here, so should definitely work. So they actually talk a bit about the actual mitigation here. So the AJP connector is enabled by default. So yeah, if you comment out the server.xml file, you can disable AJP. But you might not, that might not be feasible, right? You might actually need to use this for your site. And in that case, you can add a secret, apparently, to restrict the access to only authorized users. Okay, cool. Anyhow, this is nice. I just noticed this. Let's see what is in this proof of concept video. This is super small though, even for me. Can I not make this any larger? Yeah, this is a little extreme here in terms of how small this is. Maybe I'm just failing. Okay, I think this is by the guy that wrote the exploit. So maybe scratch what I said about the social proof if it's his own exploit. But yeah, just looking through the code, it doesn't look like anything malicious that would hack us. So we'll just go ahead and run it. Yeah, let's give it a try, shall we? So the way I'm going to do this is, I mean, it looks like these are just, yeah, for the README. So we can just grab this file here. We'll go to the raw version. And over here, we'll drop into our exploit folder. So let's create a new window here. Make this larger. Now get into the exploit folder. I'm going to pull down that exploit. And yeah, now that we have all of that here, we have this exploit. And we'll do Python 3 on this. Let's try it like with like a help flag or something. Yep, there we go. So let's just run the same command. We can grab that webinf file. Looks like they got some credentials for it. I'm not sure necessarily if we will, but we can at least use it as a proof of concept, if nothing else. So, I mean, we can literally copy paste this and just change it out for the target IP address that we're dealing with. So let's try that. All the ports are the same in this case. We just need to swap out the IP here. So yeah, it looks like there wasn't anything in there for that one. So let's see what else we can test for. Let me look up. One thing I could look up is, like, where is Tomcat config? So usually in the Tomcat home /conf server XML. And where was web INF? Under your public, okay. So I'm going to try this. Okay, to test this, let's see if I just put like Etsy password. And here we got a server error. Maybe it doesn't have permissions or something. Let's try, let's see, how did we type that before? Okay. All right, so we're getting an internal server error. Let's just go back to the actual exploit itself and see if we're actually missing anything that we might need. So what we'd expect is a 200 OK. Okay, we can try web INF, web XML. That's one thing we can try. So a lot of this stuff with the exploitation is just kind of playing around with things. Okay, that's different. So here we go. We actually did get it to work. So we got a 200 OK, and that gave us the content of this file here. I'm just gonna go ahead and bring myself off the screen just in case my my video dies here, because I am running off battery power. So, all right, how can we expand this? So it looks like we are a little bit restricted in terms of where we can look for files. We weren't able to read the Etsy password file, which was pretty interesting. Normally that is a world readable file. But yeah, we tried that before and we weren't able to get read off of that. We got a server error. I'm guessing if I try to read something that I for sure can't, like Etsy Shadow, would it give me that same error? Yeah. Maybe what if I do something like this though? Yeah, same, well, for Etsy password, let's say. Yeah, same thing, looks like. All right. Okay, yeah. Is there, oh yeah, actually there's credentials here. I just noticed that. I'm like, wait a minute. Web XML, that's, that normally has like, that could have credentials, right? So you see this here. And does Web XML normally have credentials? Let's find out a little more information, right? This is how you really learn this stuff, is going the extra mile and looking up stuff like this, right? So if I say, what is Web XML file used for? Tomcat. So contains information used to deploy and configure components of your web application. Okay, yeah, so this is normally a pretty sensitive file. It's the Tomcat, one of the Tomcat configuration files. So yeah, you would expect this to be decently lucrative. Here we have what appears to be SSH credentials. That's what it looks like to me. I'm just going to go ahead and make a note. I'm going to go really simple this time around. I'm just going to use Notepad to record this stuff. Let's see if we are able to SSH with these credentials. So do this at the IP address, which I'm going to have to grab again. I probably should save that to the file as well. I'm going to do that, actually. Okay, cool. Uh-oh. There we go. All right. Now that we have that, let's try this as the password. This crazy thing here. And just say yes there. Put in the password, and we're in. Nice. This is an Ubuntu machine. It looks like that's the host name, at least. It could be them trying to lead us astray. But if we run a uname -a, we can confirm. We see it is Ubuntu. This is the kernel version here and everything. This is a 64-bit machine that we're dealing with. But yeah, let's see where are we right now. We're in the home directory of this account here. Let's go into... Not sure where they have the actual flags for this one. Maybe they're going to make us do some PGP stuff to extract the password, which is kind of interesting. On that, let's see here. There's a couple things that we can start looking for at this point. So one thing we notice is there is some stuff in the bash history file. So let's just see. That's always a good place to start. See if there's anything interesting there. This might even be from another user. I'm not sure. I think this was the box creator here, though. Looks like it. Yeah, so this is definitely non-standard, these files here, as you might have guessed. So we can definitely try to extract this. So this ASC file, let's look up what that is. I think it has something to do with like maybe an encrypted message or something. So we could say like, what is, one sec here, go over here where I have all the research going on. What is an ASC file? An ASC file is an armored ASCII file used with pretty good privacy, PGP, an encryption program utilized for secure communication, contains a digitally signed message and may store plain text, written information, as well as binary encoded as text. Okay, so can we extract this? Usually with these types of files, you might be able to do some kind of, I think there's like GPG to John. We might be able to use to extract this. If we Google extract hash from ASC file. Yeah, GPG to John is how we could do that. Let's see, do I have that on my system? So which GPG to John? I do not have it. I could do app search on that. See if I can get it from the app repository. That way we get it installed on our system. All right, I might have to install, let's see. So a lot of this is Googling, as you see. So how to install GPG to John. And I'm sure there's different ways we could go about doing it. So, okay, if we install John, we should be good to go with this, it sounds like. I'm just going to update my repositories really quick, though, by doing a... Oh, wait, I just realized I'm not running this on my system, so that's a big fail there. See, I'm running this on the target. Obviously, I want to do that on my own machine. So, yeah. The thing is, this thing is so nicely color coordinated and everything, I thought I was just on my system. Usually, you just get the black and white shell terminals, so... Yeah, let's try this again. Which GPG to John? Do we have it or not? I think we might already have it. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, it comes installed by default on Kali Linux, so big convenience there. That's why it's nice to use Kali or Parrot or something like that. So we'll just run this command. And I think, let's run the help here. Help. Okay, there's no help. Awesome. Let's see how we can use this tool. I mean, what if I just run it by itself? There we go. This is the usage here. We run this, and then we can just supply... We don't have to really add any of these flags here. We could just do that, and then the secret key file. So we have to get this on our system first, of course, for this to work. I'm going to go into the loot directory. I think it makes more sense to put it here. And we're going to need to transfer this file out. So let's see. To do this, I'm going to go ahead and host out this file. So let's see. Do we have Python 3 available? Yeah, we do. So I'll do Python 3 HTTP server. And we could do the default port 8000. That's fine. And let me grab that IP address. So now back on our attacker system, let's grab the file. We just do wget this, port 8000. And the file was tryhackme.asc, I think. Yeah, I'll just copy paste that one over. So grab the file. And, oh, I don't know how the HTTPS part got pulled in, but HTTP. So now we have the file, right? If we run file against this, that could give us more information. PGP, this is like the secret key file. So this is the one we want to extract with GPG to John. So let's do that real quick. Cool. So we're going to save this to a file, and we can just call it hash. So now if we look at the hash file, it's ASCII text, and it's this. So great. I'm going to do some cracking with probably John if I can, since we use John, but I can use Hashcat. I'll try John. If it takes too long, then I just don't know if I have rocku. Yeah, you have rocku.txt on here by default, I think. We just need to extract it. If I go into user, share word lists, yeah, we do have it. So let me actually go into there real quick. And I am going to unzip this. So if I do tar xzvf on rocku.txt, let's see, actually gunzip, my bad. This was not a tarball. So this is going to be gunzip. Permission denied, sudo bang bang. And now we have this massive file here, rocku.txt. So if I just do a count on how many lines are in that, you'll see that there's actually over 4 million. So yeah, pretty huge file. Really good for brute forcing stuff. So let me just make sure I have John on here before I proceed. I do. I'll use John, tell it word list, and let me just reference a previous command that I've ran on John in my notes here. Yeah, and if this ends up taking too long, like I said, I'll simply use Hashcat. User share word lists, rocku.txt. Well, actually, I mean, we're in the directory. I'm just going to actually go back to where I was before in this loot folder and rerun this. So give it the word list, user share word list, and then rocku.txt. So we're going to run that against hash to try to crack the hash. Let's see, is something go wrong here? Oh yeah, now I just need to do John. That was pretty fast. Wow. John show hash. Awesome. Yeah, we cracked the password. TryHackMe Alexandru. So that was all this stuff was the data in the file. Does that relate to something they're asking, I wonder? No, so there's a user.txt file. I wonder if we have access to that file. One thing we can do on this system here in order to look for it, let me just close out of this, is that I can do like a find or a locate. Let's try a find command on user.txt. See if we can locate where that file is for the flag. And yeah, while that's running, we could go back here and let's see. I think there's more we need to do here. This is like a passphrase that we use for PGP. I don't think this is actually like credentials or anything like that. Because there was another file if we look back. Oh, cool. There's a Merlin user with the text file. That's really interesting. We were in... Let's see what all is in the home directory here real quick. Okay, so there's 2 users on the box, I believe. Let's just confirm with this file here. So, yeah, there's a... As far as user accounts, there's the user we have right now and the Merlin user. That's pretty much, yeah, the only like user accounts, non-service accounts. Okay. So yeah, with that being said, we should be able to just read out that file right now. And we can even see what else is in there here in a second. Yeah, this is our flag here. So just put in the flag. And now we got to do the privilege escalation. I'm sure it's going to involve this PGP thing here, because why else would they put it here? Usually there's not too many rabbit holes on like TryHackMe machines and stuff like that. If this was OSCP, that'd be a different story. But yeah, so if we look back at the stuff that was here in our user's home directory, we see this credential.pgp file. I'm pretty sure we can use that and actually decrypt that with that passphrase that we got being Alexandru here. So let's give that a shot. I've done some GPG, PGP stuff before. Let me just take a look at my notes over here on some of the commands for that. But if we didn't know, right, because some of you guys probably never done this before, what you would do is can look for like GPG decrypt file. Linux. Yeah, with private key. Okay, yeah. I would think that it's probably something like this. Decrypt and then like the file name. Let's see, do we have that? First of all, let's fire up the web server again. We're going to need to transfer over the credential file. But let me also check if we have GPG. I think you have it by default. Yeah, we do. We have it. Cool. So now I'll pull it into the loot directory as well. We do a couple up arrows here. Maybe a few of them. Maybe a lot of them. And we're just going to change this to that credential file. I'll just copy and paste it. So then with that, we have the file here. We can even run file on that to confirm that this is a PGP encrypted file here. So let's try that command that we just looked at. So, I mean, I can even run help on this, right? Okay, this is the shorthand for -- decrypt. We could do the -d flag to decrypt data. I wonder if there might be like multiple steps to it. I mean, we could just try the decrypt. I think like from what I'm seeing in my notes here, there's like a step we have to do before this where we actually import the ASC file, I think. But let me just see what happens if I just try to run it like this. Yeah, failed no secret key. Yeah, and there we go. My My camera just died, but no worries. We already turned that off, so no weird freezing going on here. Cool. So yeah, at this point, it looks like we need to do an import first, and let's see if that's stated or not. Let me actually turn my camera off because it's going to annoy me. Yeah, so someone was having this exact issue. This is what's so awesome about looking things up in forums, right? 1 second. All right. Yeah, so someone was having an issue, the same issue we had, decryption failed, no secret key. That's what we literally just saw here, right? And someone responded, the way you fix that is you got to do the import first on the key file. So let's do that. GPG-import. I wonder if it's -I as a shorthand. Let's see. I'm curious about that. Nope, looks like I is for interactive. So we'll just do --import. So we run import, and then on the key file, so this one here, that's the first command that we run. And this is where we put that passphrase, I think, that we got earlier. Oh, please tell me I saved it. I did not save it, so I'm going to have to go back on that one. Always take thorough notes as you go. I'm kind of rushing through here a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I'll put this into my note sheet on the side here. So let me rerun that previous command with the import and put in that passphrase. And yeah, looks like it did import successfully. Secret key imported. Perfect. Now let's go back to this one and try to run this since we have it imported. And passphrase to unlock. Let's try the same thing again. Hopefully that's it. And yes, it is. We have the password for the Merlin account, it appears. So since SSH is enabled, I can just relog into that for the Merlin account. So this allowed us to pivot from one account to the other. So we still haven't gotten root yet, but interestingly enough, we had read access on that file in his home directory. It must have been world readable. But this is ideally at the point, like after we pivot is when we would probably get the flag, is where they'd intend us to get the flag, but we already got it anyways. But now we need to try to get to root and then get that flag. So yeah, let's try to SSH into the Merlin account. Grab the IP. And let's take that really insanely long thing as the password. Put that one in. And yep, we are now Merlin. All right. So now that we have these credentials, let's do a sudo -l, see if he has any special permissions on the server. Whoops. Let's put that in. And yeah, he does. So he has no password on user bin zip. And this is the first thing I always do because you see this is major low-hanging fruit here. Now let's see if someone has sudo permissions on user bin zip. Is that, because I don't know off the top of my head actually, is that something we could use for privilege escalation? So I'm going to go to GTFO bins and I'm going to look at zip. And yes, we see that it is because of the sudo tag here on the zip binary. So I'm going to click that. And this is how we can actually leverage this for privilege escalation to the root account. So if the binary is allowed to run as super user by sudo, it does not drop the elevated privileges and may be used to access the file system, escalate, or maintain privilege access. So looks like here, okay, yeah, they just straight up say this is the command you need to run. So yeah, let's try to run just literally this exact command and see how that works for us. So, oh, right. So this thing here, this is a placeholder value. This is a variable here. So we're just going to replace this with like make temp-u, or we could just run this command and then run this command. But you know what? Yeah, let's just do it for good measure. We'll just follow along exactly how they did it. Just for you guys to more easily follow along, and boom, now you see we are the root account. So we've gotten our privilege fully escalated here, and we could basically upgrade the shell and stuff like that. Just to keep this brief here, I'm just gonna go into /root and I'll read off the flag. And that should complete the challenge for us. So yeah, guys, hopefully you guys got value out of this. Let me know what you think of these videos, of these uncut pen testing videos. I've really been enjoying making them for you guys, honestly. I think it's really helpful. Like, this is how I first learned. I would watch a lot of IPSec and stuff like that. But the thing about his videos that I always wish there were more of are like the uncut pen testing type of videos, because those have a ton of value when you watch someone going through it for the first time as well. You could see like all the hurdles they encounter and all of that stuff. Definitely really helpful on your journey to entering this field and learning, leveling up, and eventually getting a job in the field. And by the way, if that's something that you're interested in doing, I have down in the description below a link to my top 10 pen testing interview questions that I created absolutely for free. You guys can get it there. And it's going to give you some of the top 10 questions and how to answer them in great detail and additional resources just to learn that extra mile. Because as you see here, all the extra research we did really helped us go beyond just exploiting the box. We actually understood what was happening every step of the way, and that's going to pay off a lot if you just keep doing stuff like this over time, and you always seek to just learn how things work, that curiosity factor. In no time, you're going to be job ready. So check that out if you're interested, and I'll see you guys over in some of the technical content that I have on screen right now.